Welcome to Square One Engineering's Monday Quickie Recap. We are talking about our experiences with this week's article. I hope you enjoy. Our Monday Quickie this week talks about how to be successful in a startup company. And I think this is such a great topic because it's a really big mindset shift from working in a big corporate world into working in a startup company. And you mentioned 5 characteristics on how to be successful in the startup world. And what resonated mostly with me was really stepping outside of your comfort zone and your job description. Not saying, well, that's not within my job duties. And really needing to step up is what's going to make you successful in a startup company.
Yeah, that's a really big issue, Trish. We see that in big companies all the time, right?
Yeah.
You hear it mostly from management, where they're talking about employees and how it's very easy to get kind of one-track minded or siloed in the work that you're doing. And heaven forbid if somebody asks you to do something that's slightly outside of your normal job description, it's, we throw our hands up in the air. It's like, that's not a part of my job. Unfortunately, you can't get away with that in a startup.
Right.
And that's, for some people, it's a really big eye-opener. Mm-hmm. You yourself, you came from a big company into a startup.
Yep.
So what was that experience like?
Definitely a mindset shift, and it was a little scary in the beginning, to not have certain things in place or just knowing that things could evolve and change. I was so used to structure, and this is where my growth was going to go, and I just needed to read a book to figure out where the next step was, and to be able to make those changes and have that autonomy to create things has been really exciting for me. But it's definitely been a mindset shift on knowing that I can do that. That I'm not just red taped behind a certain SOP that's already in place. It's not going to change.
Right. And we talk about that in the book, or excuse me, the article. And that's a great point that you bring up, is the mindset shift that has to occur, because in corporate America, big companies, even medium-sized companies, a lot of that stuff, the SOPs, the processes for your job, it's already outlined. Mm-hmm. So your role coming in as an employee is more follow the parameters and the processes we already have laid out, and if you do that, you'll be successful.
Exactly.
Not like that in a startup.
No, not at all. Not at all. And I feel within the startup world too, you could be prideful in a big corporate world, and I was, but I feel that pride and that ownership piece is so crucial when you're working in a startup company. And that's been the biggest shift for me is, I'm prideful of our office. I'm prideful of what we do, so if I need to take out the trash, I'm going to take out the trash. I'm still going to get my job done, but I want our place to look good too. So I don't believe that was in my job description, but it's something I want to do, and I want to be prideful in our company.
We can change your job description to take out the trash.
And I'm sure you would.
So if you look back on the article and some of the things that we've talked about, leadership, for example, was one of the other aspects we talked about in the article. What are your thoughts on that and the impact leadership has, in particular, in the startup world?
Yeah, that's a good question, and a really good topic that you brought up within the article as well. And I think that the biggest part is leadership is so transparent in a small company. You're going to see the good and the bad with it, So if there's a decision made within a startup company and it's not necessarily the right direction, or, it's not aligned with certain goals, it could be detrimental to a startup company. Where in a corporate world, I feel like there's a lot more, lack of better words, a little bit of fluff that could easily, cover up that, that bad decision. Where in a small company, everyone sees it. So you have to be really cognizant of how you're leading and how you're showing up. because it's shown to everybody.
And to your point, in a big company, you make a costly mistake, especially if it's a financial mistake, and most big companies can weather that storm.
Yeah.
But in the startup world, you make a costly financial mistake, that could bury the company.
Oh, absolutely.
And we've seen that happen, right? So, we've talked about a fair amount of the challenges that come with being in the startup world. You made the transition about a year ago. What has been your perspective? What's some of the things that you really like?
Yes, it's exciting for me. I love that every day's different. I love that I'm not coming in and working 8 to 5, just monotonous. I know exactly what every hour is going to be. I like that everything's different. I like that things can change. It's like I mentioned earlier, it's ever evolving, and that part is very exciting to me. Today we could be doing something, next week could be something different, because we're always wanting to try to change and be better, and that part is what really excites me.
Me too.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad we're in this together.